Good morning, children. Welcome back after your summer vacations. Now, the next chapter that we have to take up for your first pre-boards is the chapter 7, that is laws of returns to a factor and returns to a scale. We can also term it as theory of production. You may ask, what do you mean by theory of production? Just let us make a base for this chapter. In the previous chapters, we have studied that the supply curve, you know the supply curve very well. It shows the various quantities of a commodity that firms would be willing to produce and offer for sale at various prices, right? Now, the supply price or the price of the supply that we are talking about of a specific level of output, right? It depends upon the cost of production of that level of output. This is what we can very well understand, that the price of the commodity depends on the cost of production. So this is what we are saying, that the supply price of a specific quantity of output depends on the cost of production, how much we are spending on producing that commodity, right? And then cost of production, in turn, it depends on two things. One, the physical relation between inputs and output, that is input, all the factors of production that you use, raw material, all those things, and when you use all these things, what is the output? So first thing that on which cost of production depends is the relationship between input and output, and second thing on which the cost of production depends is the prices of inputs. Now here, if we take an assumption that the prices of inputs are given to a firm, that is the second constituent. If we assume this component of the cost of the commodity to be stagnant, to be given, which will not change, then what is left is the physical relationship between input and output, right? So if the prices of the inputs are given, the cost of production will depend upon the physical relationship between input and output. Here we come that is the study of the relationship between input and output is known as the theory of production. I hope you got it now. What do you mean by theory of production and how we can relate to it in the entire chapter? This is the theory of production, that is the relationship between input and output. Now, this kind of relationships we are studying from the very beginning of your syllabus. We studied a functional relationship in demand also, in supply also, right? So we are studying this functional relationship every year. Similarly, when we say theory of production is a functional relationship between the physical relationship between inputs and output. And then we can also talk about a study of the relationship between output and cost of production is what we call as theory of cost, that we will be seeing followed by this chapter, right, after this chapter. So what we can say, that the theory of production, that is the physical relationship between input and output, it provides a base for the theory of cost, and the cost of production influences the supply. This is how can we relate to the very first statement, that is the supply price, right? That is what we began with, right? So production influence, in this chapter we will be confining ourselves to the theory of production only. Now, what do you mean by production? Now, production generally, in general term, we can say production is the physical conversion of raw materials into tangible goods, that is the goods which can be seen or touched. So when we physically convert, when we physically transform raw material into tangible goods, that is what you mean by production. It is from the viewpoint of a person who does not know exactly what economics mean by production, right? For this, we can give an example. In a textile mill, cloth is produced by using different kinds of raw material like yarn, chemical, etc. This is what you mean by production. But this is a limited phenomena of production. Economists, they define production in a wider and much more comprehensive sense. They say that production is creation of utility. Now, utility can not only be created in goods, but it can also be created in services. So, this is a much wider concept as compared to the previous one. Now, in this sense, production includes not only material goods that you can see and touch, but it also includes various services like the services of doctors, teachers, hairdressers, nurses, all those who are providing you services, right? So, we can say the act of making goods and services and thereby adding utility to the object is called production in economics, right? This is what you mean by production in the economic sense. Now we are coming to production function. We are studying the theory of production, so we are coming to production function or production process. What is the process of production? Now, if we wanted to be specific for production function or production process, we define it as a production function shows the maximum quantity of a commodity that can be produced per unit of time with the given amount of inputs when the best production technique available is used. It is a definition given for production function. We can understand this with the help of this example. For example, if you are a producer of shoes, right? So for a shoemaking factory, we need to have inputs like shoe workers, those who can produce shoes, leather, raw material, glue, shoemaking machines, all these are accessories, right? Now, output that will come after processing on these inputs that you have just named out. Output thus is a function of inputs like land, labor, capital, and all those inputs that you have just mentioned. So, the functional relationship between inputs and outputs is usually referred to as production function. Just now you have talked about theory of production. There also you said that is the relationship between input and output, and here that is theory of production. Here we are saying the functional relationship between input and output is known as production function, right? This is what you mean by production function. Now we have if we, in the form of a production function shows, just now I have told you the definition. Now this function can be expressed in an algebraic form also, in the form of a curve also, right? And it can be expressed in the form of a table also. If you express production function in an algebraic equation or in the form of an algebra equation for a good, it can be expressed as Q of x. Q will be capital, x will be small. That means the quantity of x is equal to f. F denotes the function. So quantity of x is the function of, in brackets, all the inputs that you are using, f1, f2 till fn, right? So quantity of x is the functional relationship of all the inputs, that is f1, f2, f3 and till fn, how many numbers it can be, right? So this is what you mean by algebraic equation of a production function. Now since we are studying a predefined format, if we assume that there are only two inputs, practically there are many, but if we want to restrict ourselves to a simple production function, and for that if we assume that there are only two inputs, say labor and capital, all right, then the simple production function can be stated as Q of x is equal to f. Instead of f1, f2, f3, fn, we can say L and K. L represents labor, K represents capital, and brackets close. In this simple production function, the quantity of commodity x produced is the function, that is it depends upon the quantity of L, that is labor, and quantity of K, that is capital. Now there are certain features of production function. When you study production function, there are certain features of that. The first feature of production function, of such kind of production function, is that a production function is expressed with reference to a particular period of time, that is say a day or a month. Both input and output they involve, because both these input and output they involve flow. So it is always expressed particular period of time. The second feature of production function is that it expresses a physical relation, because both inputs and outputs are expressed in physical term. They are tangible, right? And the third feature of production function is that production function describes a purely technological relation, because what can be produced from a given amount of inputs depend upon the state of technology. What kind of technology you are going to use. The output will purely depend on the technology that you will be using, right? So these are the three features of production function. Now we have two kinds of, the next topic that is there in your book is run. That two kinds of run that we can refer to the time period specifically, but not more focus on time. Two kinds of run are there, short run and long run. We will be studying about it, that why we are taking care of it all. Now short run refers to the period of time over which the amount of some inputs called the fixed factors cannot be changed. Now here I want you to be very careful. I repeat myself, short run is referring to the period of time over which we are referring to time period over here, but what we are focusing more is that the amount of some inputs. There are various inputs, but some inputs, and they are called as the fixed factors. Inputs, some inputs. What inputs are called fixed factors? The inputs whose amount cannot be changed. These inputs are called fixed factors, right? This is what you mean by short run. So short run is a phenomena where you have two kinds of factors of production. One, the amount of which cannot be changed, they are known as fixed factors. The other, which are known as variable factor, the amount of only those factors can be changed. For example, the amount of plant and equipment, etc. There are many machines, they are fixed in the short run. This means that an increase in output, it implies that when the amount of some factor inputs is fixed, it means, or it implies, that if you want to increase the output in the short run, because you are doing the production with the help of factors of production, so when the amount of some inputs cannot be changed, but you have to change the output. So in that condition, if you want to change the output in the short run, it can only be brought about by increasing those inputs that can be varied, and they are known as variable inputs or variable factors. This is about short run. Then second is long run. Now long run is defined as the time period during which all factors of production can be varied. There is no concept of fixed factors in the long run. All the factor variables they can be varied, they can be changed, and you can change the amount of output by changing all factor inputs. Now a firm can install, for example, a firm can install a new plant or raise a new factory building even, right? Long run is the period during which the size of the plant can be changed. So all the factors are variable in the long run, meaning that their quantities can be changed. This is what you mean by long run. I hope the difference between the two is clear. Now, depending on these two types of runs, long run and short run, we have two types of production function also, right? The production function which works in short run is short run production function, and the production process or production function which works in long run is long run production function. First, short run production function refers to a situation when only one input is variable, because we are restraining ourselves to a simple production function where only two factor inputs we have taken. So here we say that a shorthand is a phenomena, production function is a phenomena where only one input is variable and all other inputs are assumed to be fixed or constant. The amount of those variable factor inputs cannot be changed. Now here, when you study in the short-run production function, when you study the effect of change in the quantity of one input on the total output by keeping all other inputs constant. I repeat myself, here what do you study? You study the effect of change in the quantity of one input. Which input you are changing? You can change the variable input, because in the short run only one input can be changed. So when you change the amount of that one variable input, what effect it will cause on the total output when we keep all other inputs constant. This is what you study in short run. So short run production function is specifically is the subject matter of law of variable proportion. The very first statement, the caption of the chapter that you just heard, that is law of variable proportion, or what the classical economists have named as laws of returns, right? This is what you will be studying. Then second is long run production function. A long run production function refers to a situation when all the inputs are variable. It shows the change in output when all inputs used in production of a commodity are changed, mined simultaneously and in the same proportion. Now this can be taken up as an assumption that all the inputs, they are changed simultaneously and in the same proportion, because practically it is not possible. So this is a mere assumption of the theory. Now long run production is the subject matter of returns to scale. What do you mean by scale? When you change the entire setup, just now we said, when you change the entire setup in the simultaneously and in the same proportion, then you term it as change in scale, right? Then you have certain variables or concepts that you will be studying in this chapter, and previously also you have been through such captions. The first is total product. Now the total product or total physical product, you can refer to it both the ways. The total product or total physical product refers to the total amount of a commodity, that is the overall amount of a commodity produced during some period of time by combining a particular quantity of a variable factor with the fixed factor. We'll have to be careful. We are studying short run phenomena here. In short run, first concept that you will be coming to know is the total product, and total product is the overall amount of the output that is produced by combining during some period of time by combining a particular quantity of a variable factor with a given quantity of fixed factor. Then average product or average physical product of a variable factor. Now here the definition is a slight change. You are saying average product or average physical product of a variable factor. This you did not say in total product. That means average product is only associated with variable factor. It has nothing to do with the fixed factor, right? So the physical product of a variable factor, it refers to the output per unit of a variable factor. What is the contribution of variable factor per unit? It is also called average returns, right? And the third, a little bit more for this, it is found, the formula for this, it is simply found by dividing the total product by the total number of variable factor. You can also write it down like average product of labor, because labor is the variable factor over here, capital is a fixed factor in this case, that what model we are studying. So average product of L, that is L is the labor, because labor we are assuming to be a variable factor, is equal to total product of labor, the total output given by labor divided by labor per unit, right? Then marginal product or marginal physical product is this can also be defined as a change in total product resulting from one additional unit of a variable factor. That is when the amount of total product changes because you add one more additional. Marginal is additional, we have already discussed about it. So when the amount of total product changes because you add one more unit of variable factor, the resultant product is known as marginal product or marginal returns. This you can write as marginal product of L, because labor is the additional only, fixed factors cannot be changed, is equal to delta. We understand delta means change in total product divided by delta L, that is change in labor, right? Or you can also write it down, as you have already been through this concept in utility, marginal product of nth unit, if you have to find out, derive it from the total one, is equal to total product of n minus total product of n minus 1. This is how you can derive the marginal product out of total product.